The concrete barriers appeared at dawn. Massive highway dividers surrounding my grandfather's pond, the spring-fed sanctuary where 3 generations watched otters and eagles. The HOA president gave me 30 days to fill it in or lose everything. She claimed safety concerns. The truth? My 3 acres blocked her $20 million resort scheme. She had corrupt inspectors, forged permits, and lawyers burying me in fines. Within weeks, the pond died. Green scum, dead fish, wildlife gone. I was shattered, one day from surrender. Then I called my grandfather's old friend, Marcus, the kid next door who became an EPA inspector. He took 1 water sample, made 1 phone call. Federal investigation launched. FBI raids followed. International manhunt began. Sharon's final courtroom meltdown was captured on camera, and what she screamed as marshals dragged her away still haunts me. Stay until the end to see justice delivered. Drop a comment with your location. I love seeing where this story reaches. The Blue Ridge Mountains in October. That's when the light hits different. Golden through the pines. Mist rising off the water like something out of a dream. I'm standing on the dock my grandfather built with his own hands, camera in mind, watching a great blue heron stalk the shallows of our spring-fed pond. 3 acres of perfection. That's what I inherited. 40 years my grandfather spent building this sanctuary. Every stone in those hand-stacked walls placed with intention. Every native wildflower chosen to feed the monarchs and hummingbirds. The pond itself, crystal clear, fed by an underground spring that's run since before this country existed, connects to the creek system flowing down to the valley below. This is where he taught me to see, really see, the otter family that denayed in the rocks every spring, the bald eagles nesting downstream, the way morning light turned water into liquid silver. I'm a wildlife photographer now, finally living the dream. No more corporate hell, no more fluorescent lights and soul-crushing meetings. Just me, my camera, and this paradise. The heron strikes. Silver flash of a base. Perfect. I'm heading back to the cabin when I see it. White envelope tucked in my door. Official HOA letterhead. My stomach drops. I knew the neighborhood incorporated last year. Grandfather was in hospice then. Couldn't fight it. But the pond's been here since 1983. Grandfathered in. Legally protected wetland. Nothing to worry about, right? I open the letter. Dear property owner, it has come to the attention of the Homeowners Association that your property contains an unpermitted water feature constituting a liability and safety hazard. You are hereby required to drain and fill said pond within 30 days or face enforcement action, including fines and potential foreclosure. Sincerely, Sharon Pembroke, HOA President. I actually laugh out loud. Fill in the pond? The woman's insane. This isn't some decorative fountain. This is a functioning ecosystem, protected by state and federal wetland laws. She has zero legal authority. I crumple the letter, toss it in recycling. Big mistake. 2 days later, I wake to diesel engines. Heavy machinery. The kind of sound that punches through your chest and tells you something very bad is happening. I sprint outside in my boxers. Construction crew at my property line. 6 men, 2 trucks. They're installing a chain-link fence, cutting right across the natural drainage path where my pond overflows into the creek during heavy rain. What the hell are you doing? Foreman doesn't even look up. HOA work order. Talk to Sharon Pembroke. The fence goes up in 3 hours. 8 feet tall. Locked gate. Right across the overflow channel. I call the county. Get transferred 4 times. Finally reach someone who sounds bored to death. It's a civil HOA matter, sir. You'll need to handle it through their dispute process. They're blocking a natural waterway. File a complaint with the HOA board. Click. That night I checked the pond. Water levels already higher. The natural flow's been cut off. The ecosystem's balanced for 40 years with that overflow system. Now it's trapped. Stagnant. By morning, I see the first dead fish. Base floating belly up near the dock. The water's already clouding. Green tinge forming at the edges. I drive to Sharon Pembroke's house. Corner lot. Perfectly manicured lawn. Mercedes in the driveway. She answers the door in tennis whites, 52 years old, blonde highlights, and a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Can I help you? You need to remove that fence. You're destroying a protected wetland. The smile widens. Ice cold. I don't think so. See, I've done my research. Your grandfather never properly registered this pond with the county. Technically, it's an illegal water feature. and illegal things get removed. She starts closing the door. Oh, and those daily fines. They started yesterday. $500 per day until compliance. Have a blessed day. Door shuts in my face. I stand there shaking. Not from fear. From rage. Because I just realized, this isn't about the pond at all. This is about something much bigger. The HOA meeting happens in the community center basement. Fluorescent lights humming. Smell of burnt coffee and carpet cleaner. 20 neighbors packed into folding chairs. I'm clutching a folder thick with documentation, grandfather's original deed, environmental surveys, state wetland protection certificates. Sharon Pembroke stands at the front like she's running a Fortune 500 boardroom. Pantsuit. PowerPoint. Professional smile weaponized into something terrifying. Next item. Safety concerns regarding unpermitted water features. She clicks to a slide. Photos of my pond. Except she's labeled it stagnant hazard zone. Another slide. Mosquito breeding ground. Another. Property value impact. Estimated loss $47,000 PR home. All lies. Complete fabrications. I stand up. That's not true. None of it. This pond is a registered wetland. Protected under state and federal law. I have documentation. Mr. Anderson. Sharon's voice cuts like a blade. Your grandfather's personal pond does not supersede community safety. We have children in this neighborhood. Murmurs from the crowd. Some nodding. I spread the documents on the table. Look. Original 1983 deed. Environmental survey from 2019. State wetland certification. Federal protection status. You can't just. Sharon smiles. We'll review your paperwork. Meeting adjourned. Gavel bang. That's it. 30 seconds. Dismissed like a child. Walking to my truck, I see neighbors avoid eye contact. One woman I've known for years crosses the street. Already choosing sides. Next morning, concrete barriers. Not a fence this time. Actual Jersey barriers. The massive concrete blocks they use on highways. Delivered by flatbed truck. Positioned in a ring around my entire pond perimeter. Blocking access. Blocking light. Blocking everything. I count them. 16 barriers. Each one probably weighs 4,000 pounds. The pond's completely cut off now. No drainage. No flow. The water level rises 6 inches overnight. It floods my lower garden. The native wildflower beds grandfather cultivated for decades. Butterfly milkweed drowning. Mountain laurel submerged. The algae bloom happens fast. Water turns soup green. The smell hits by day 3. Decay. Rot. Death. The otter family doesn't come back. I watch for them every dawn. Empty rocks. Empty water. The eagle nest downstream. I hike there on day 5. Collapsed. The creek bed below my property is dry. Bone dry. The blocked overflow means no water reaching the downstream ecosystem. 40 years of environmental balance destroyed in a week. I call my lawyer. Name's Robert Chun. No. Wait. Different lawyer. Name's David Foster. He listens. Sighs. Fighting an HOA in court costs $50,000 to $70,000. Minimum. Could take 2 years. And even if you win, enforcement is complicated because how much do you need for a retainer? 10,000. I have maybe 6 in savings. The rest is tied up in camera equipment. My livelihood. I'll get it to you. I sell my backup camera body. My favorite telephoto lens. Equipment I've had for 15 years. Watching strangers drive away with it feels like losing pieces of myself. But I get David the retainer. Meanwhile, Sharon's violations keep coming. Daily letters. Each one a new fine. Grass exceeds HOA maximum height by 0.7 inches. $500. Vehicle parked facing wrong direction in driveway. $500. Exterior paint not on approved color list. $500. She's burying me in bureaucratic attacks. Death by 1,000 cuts. I stop sleeping. The smell from the pond reaches my cabin now. I can't escape it. Can't escape what's happening. Every morning I wake to another piece of my grandfather's legacy rotting away. Week 2. I find tire tracks leading down to the dock. Fresh. Middle of the night someone drove onto my property. The dock railing's been loosened. Sabotage. No proof who did it. But I know. Then Sharon's next letter arrives. Certified mail. Notice of lien. Unpaid HOA fines now total $8,500. Failure to pay within 30 days will result in foreclosure proceedings on your property. My hands shake reading it. She's going to take everything. Money vanishes like water through cupped hands. The retainer gone in 2 weeks. David files preliminary motions, but every court document costs hundreds. Every filing fee, another knife in my bank account. Sharon's enforcers patrol daily now. 2 neighbors she's recruited, wannabe cops who couldn't cut it in real law enforcement. They photograph my property from the street. Document every microscopic violation. Report my truck parked 3 inches over some invisible HOA line. The fines stack up. 15,000. 20. 25. I'm drowning. The pond's completely dead now. What was Crystal Mountain water is thick green sludge. The smell reaches 100 yards. Neighbors complain, ironically blaming me for the pollution Sharon created. The scum on the surface looks like toxic paint. Nothing lives in there anymore. I walk the property at dawn, trying to remember what it looked like before. The herons fishing. The otters playing. Grandfather teaching me to cast a line right there by that submerged rock. All I see is destruction. I'm sitting on the ruined dock when my phone rings. David. They're pushing for emergency foreclosure hearing. Judge granted it. 2 weeks. Can we fight it? Long pause. Not without another 30,000 in legal fees. And honestly, the judge is sympathetic to HOA authority. This county's very pro-development. So I'm screwed. I'm sorry. I hang up. Just sit there, staring at green scum, breathing poison air, realizing I'm about to lose everything my grandfather spent 40 years building because one woman wanted money. That's when I see the dump trucks. 3 of them, commercial size, rolling up to my property line. I run. What are you doing? Different crew this time. Foreman won't even look at me. HOA contract. Filling in the hazardous water feature. You can't. That's my property. Take it up with Sharon Pembroke, buddy. The first truck backs up. Hydraulics whine. The bed tilts. Clay and rock pour into my grandfather's pond. I'm screaming. Actually screaming. But nobody cares. Nobody stops. Truck after truck. Load after load. The pond disappearing under tons of fill dirt. Each dump feels like watching someone bury a family member alive. I call the sheriff. They're destroying my property. Sir, if you have an HOA dispute, that's a civil matter. They're dumping literal tons of dirt into a protected wetland. Contact your lawyer. I already did. He's useless. I call the EPA hotline. Get an automated message about business hours. I call local news. Nobody picks up. The dump trucks work for 6 hours. By sunset, half the pond is gone. Just gone. Buried under construction waste. That night, I don't sleep. Can't. I sit on the cabin porch watching the destruction site. Security lights Sharon's crew installed casting harsh shadows over the grave of my grandfather's dream. Around 2 a.m., I break. Just completely shatter. Sitting there alone in the dark, crying for the first time since grandfather's funeral. 40 years of his life. Gone. Because I wasn't strong enough to stop one corrupt woman. I'm ready to surrender. Sign whatever Sharon wants. Walk away. Let her win. Then I remember something. Grandfather's old friend. Marcus. The kid who grew up next door in the 80s. Helped grandfather survey this land when it was raw forest. They'd spent summers clearing brush, planting trees, designing the pond's ecosystem together. Marcus became an environmental scientist. Last I heard, 15 years ago, he worked for the EPA. It's 2:30 in the morning. Probably a dead end. But I have nothing left to lose. I find his number in grandfather's old address book. Yellowed pages. Handwritten entries. I dial. It rings 4 times. I'm about to hang up. Hello. Voice rough with sleep. But it's him. Marcus? It's me. I need help. They're destroying grandfather's pond. Silence. Then, I've been waiting for you to call. I know exactly what Sharon Pembroke is doing. I'll be there at dawn. Marcus arrives as the sun breaks over the mountains. He drives an old F-150, government plates, bed full of equipment cases. He's in his 60s now, gray beard, weathered face, but those same sharp eyes I remember from childhood summers. We don't hug, don't do small talk. He just looks at the pond and his jaw tightens. Show me everything. I walk him through it. The concrete barriers, the blocked overflow, the fill dirt, the dead ecosystem. He doesn't speak, just pulls out testing equipment I don't recognize. Water sampling kits, soil core samplers, GPS survey tools, a professional camera that makes mine look like a toy. He works in silence for 20 minutes, taking measurements, collecting samples, photographing every angle. Then he kneels at the water's edge, tests pH, dissolved oxygen, contamination levels. His face goes dark. This is worse than I thought. He stands, pulls out a tablet, shows me satellite imagery of the property from 1985, then 2010, then now. See this? He traces the creek system with his finger. Your pond isn't just some decorative water feature. It's a critical node in the entire valley's hydrology. This spring feeds into Blackwater Creek, which supplies the reservoir 15 miles downstream. That reservoir? 30,000 people's drinking water. My stomach drops. Sharon blocked all that. She didn't just block it. She contaminated it. He shows me lab results from the samples he just took. Chemical compounds I can't pronounce. Petroleum products. Construction waste. Industrial contamination leaching from the filled dirt into the water table. This violates the Clean Water Act. The Endangered Species Act. There's protected salamander species in this creek system. State environmental codes. And by blocking federal waterways without permits, she's committed multiple felonies. But nobody stopped her. County enforcement said. County enforcement doesn't have jurisdiction over federal waterways. Marcus looks at me. But I do. He makes one phone call. Right there. Standing in the ruins of my grandfather's pond. Regional director? Marcus here. I need an emergency federal investigation opened. Clean Water Act violations. Protected wetland destruction. Suspected fraud and corruption. Yes. I'm standing on site now. Full documentation ready. He listens. Nods. Approved. Team arrives Monday. Hangs up. Looks at me. Sharon Pembroke just made the biggest mistake of her life. That night, Sharon's crew tries removing evidence. I hear trucks at 11 p.m. Watch from my window as they attempt to pull out the concrete barriers under cover of darkness. Marcus is ready. He set up trail cameras. Night vision. Everything documented. By dawn, he's filed an emergency federal injunction. Federal judge issues immediate cease and desist order. Sharon's entire operation shut down. 8 a.m., federal marshals arrive. 3 vehicles. They cordon off my property as an active investigation site. Postguards. Nobody touches anything now. Sharon shows up at 9, screaming at the marshals, demanding to know who filed complaints, threatening lawsuits. They ignore her. She storms to my cabin, pounds on the door. I open it. Her face is twisted. Rage. Fear. Something worse. You have no idea what you've started, she hisses. You think you're the hero? You just destroyed this entire neighborhood. Property values will crash. The development project that would have brought jobs, revenue, growth, gone. Because you're too sentimental about a disgusting swamp. It's not a swamp. It's a protected wetland you deliberately poisoned. Prove it. Marcus steps out from behind me. She goes pale. Marcus Whitaker, EPA Senior Inspector. And I have 17 years of documentation proving you've been systematically destroying protected ecosystems across 3 counties. We're just getting started. Sharon backs away, pointing at me. This isn't over. You have no idea who you're dealing with. She drives off, tires screaming. Marcus watches her go. Actually, he says quietly, she has no idea who she's dealing with. The EPA team descends like a military operation. 12 specialists, hydrologists, environmental scientists, legal investigators. They swarm the property with equipment, documenting everything Sharon destroyed. Marcus leads them. Professional, methodical, relentless. They find evidence everywhere. The concrete barriers never had environmental impact permits. The filled dirt contains illegal dumping, construction debris, asbestos, chemical waste. The blocked creek has killed downstream habitat for 3 endangered species. But Marcus digs deeper. He pulls county records, building permits, zoning applications. That's when the real conspiracy surfaces. Sharon didn't just want my pond gone. She needed it destroyed for a massive commercial development. Luxury resort complex spanning 17 acres. My 3 acres were the final piece. The pond's water rights were the only legal barrier blocking her from breaking ground. She stood to make $20 million. Marcus finds the paper trail. Shell company filings. Offshore accounts. Payments to county officials for rubber stamping fake permits. A network of corruption spanning years. The investigation expands. FBI gets involved. Financial Crimes Division. Sharon's not just an HOA tyrant. She's a criminal mastermind who's been running this scheme across multiple counties. Finding elderly landowners. Forcing them out through HOA harassment. Seizing properties for pennies. Flipping to developers for millions. My grandfather's pond was supposed to be her biggest payday. The HOA board panics. 3 members resign immediately. Nobody wants association with Sharon's crimes. The remaining board votes to suspend her presidency pending investigation. Sharon fights back hard. Hires a law firm from Atlanta. Expensive suits and aggressive tactics. They file emergency motions to dismiss. Claim the EPA investigation is politically motivated. Attack Marcus's credentials because he knew my grandfather. Conflict of interest. Local media picks it up. Some outlets paint me as environmental hero standing up to corruption. Others call me a troublemaker destroying the neighborhood over personal grudges. The neighborhood divides. Some neighbors apologize. Bring casseroles. Offer support. Others won't make eye contact. Blame me for the federal scrutiny. Property values did drop 30% in 2 weeks. Sharon's predicted crash came true, just not the way she intended. Then the threats start. First one arrives in my mailbox. Typed letter. No signature. Drop this or you'll regret it. I show Marcus. He reports it to the FBI. Second threat is spray painted on my truck. 3 a.m. I wake to shattered glass. Leave. Sheriff takes a report. Does nothing. Third threat is the fire. Small one. Starts near the pond around midnight. Arson investigators find accelerant. No suspects. Marcus pulls me aside. Sharon's desperate. Cornered. That makes her dangerous. Should I be scared? You should be careful. But Sharon's lawyers are making progress. They find a sympathetic county judge. Get the federal investigation temporarily paused pending ethics review of Marcus's involvement. Marcus is suspended. EPA puts him on administrative leave while they investigate the conflict of interest claims. The investigation stalls. And Sharon strikes her final blow, a $5 million defamation lawsuit against me personally. Claims I made false accusations. Damaged her reputation. Caused emotional distress. She doesn't need to win. She just needs to bankrupt me into silence. My lawyer calls. This lawsuit will cost more to defend than you'll make in 10 years. They're not trying to win. They're trying to destroy you. What do? Settle. Apologize. Sign a non-disclosure agreement. Walk away. I sit in the cabin, surrounded by 40 years of memories. Photographs of grandfather. The pond before Sharon killed it. I'm broke. Alone. Legally crushed. Sharon's winning. But then, a letter arrives. Plain envelope. No return address. Inside, documents. Financial records. Meeting transcripts. Email printouts. And a handwritten note. She destroyed my family's land 5 years ago. I was too scared to fight. You're not. Finish this. The documents prove everything. Sharon's bribes. Her perjury. Her entire criminal operation. The whistleblower is her former business partner. And with this evidence, the FBI doesn't need Marcus anymore. They have Sharon. Federal warrants drop like bombs. FBI raids Sharon's office at 6 a.m. 12 agents. Forensic accountants. Computer seizure teams. They find everything. Her real financial records, not the sanitized versions she showed the county. Bank statements proving $50,000 in bribes to the county building inspector. Emails discussing the pond problem and how to eliminate the obstacle. Text messages planning my harassment campaign. Forged environmental impact statements. Fake permits. The county inspector flips immediately. Offers testimony in exchange for reduced charges. Names every official Sharon corrupted. The state legislator who fast-tracked her zoning changes resigns before dawn. 2 developers implicated in her schemes scramble for plea deals. The conspiracy's bigger than anyone imagined. Sharon's been running this operation for 7 years. 11 properties across 4 counties. Elderly landowners targeted. Families harassed until they sold cheap. Properties flipped to developers for massive profits. Total fraud, $43 million. My grandfather's pond wasn't her first victim, just the one where she finally got caught. But Sharon's gone. FBI traces her movements. She withdrew $3.7 million in cash across multiple accounts over 48 hours before the raid. Private investigators track her to Florida, then the Cayman Islands, then Mexico City. Federal warrants issued. Interpol alerts. Her face on national news. But she's smart. Careful. Using cash. Fake IDs. Staying off-grid. The investigation continues without her. Federal prosecutors build the case. Environmental crimes. Fraud. Bribery. Conspiracy. Money laundering. RICO charges for organized criminal enterprise. Even without Sharon in custody, they're dismantling her entire operation. Marcus gets reinstated. The ethics complaint was filed by Sharon's lawyers using fabricated evidence. Charges dismissed. He returns to work with federal commendation. First thing he does is start pond restoration. Federal court orders Sharon's contractors to undo the damage at their own expense. The concrete barriers removed. Fill dirt excavated. Professional environmental cleanup crews treating the contamination. It's slow, painful. The pond won't heal overnight. But every day brings visible progress. The water level drops to natural height. Treatment systems filter out chemicals. Native plants reintroduced to the shoreline. Marcus oversees everything personally, using Sharon's seized assets to fund the restoration. Poetic justice, her criminal profits paying to heal what she destroyed. The defamation lawsuit against me gets dismissed with prejudice. Judge sanctions Sharon's lawyers for filing in bad faith. They're facing their own ethics violations now. Neighbors start coming around, apologizing. They were scared, manipulated. Sharon controlled the community through fear and misinformation. Now they see the truth. Someone organizes a community workday. 20 neighbors show up to help plant native wildflowers along the pond shore. The same species grandfather cultivated. We work together, healing the land, healing the community. But Sharon's still out there, somewhere. Then, 3 months later, my phone buzzes. Unknown number. Encrypted messaging app. You think you won? I still have insurance. Files that will destroy Marcus's career. Burn everything down or I release them. You have 48 hours. I show the FBI. They trace the message to Costa Rica. International warrant issued. Extradition proceedings begin. Costa Rican authorities locate her. Living in a beachfront villa under a fake name. Spending the stolen millions on luxury while her victims struggle to rebuild. The raid happens at dawn. Local police. FBI liaison. She's arrested in her pajamas. Screaming. Fighting. Claiming persecution. Nobody cares. She's extradited. Federal custody. Held without bail as flight risk. The trial date is set. And everyone she hurt is finally going to get justice. I stand at the pond's edge. Water's clearer now. Still sick. Still damaged. But healing. A single heron returns. Tentative. Testing the shallows. It's the first wildlife I've seen here in 4 months. Marcus stands beside me. She's going to prison, he says. For how long? Long enough. The heron strikes. Catches a fingerling base. Life returning. Slowly. But returning. The legal pressure becomes suffocating. Sharon's gone, but her lawyers remain. Circling like vultures. Filing motions. Burning through what little money I have left. Every court appearance costs $1,500. Every document another knife in my dying bank account. My photographer income dried up months ago. Can't focus on work when you're fighting for survival. Equipment I didn't sell sits unused. Clients moved on to photographers who actually deliver. The pond's still toxic. Restoration moves at government speed, slow, bureaucratic, drowning in permits and environmental assessments. The water remains green. The smell persists. Wildlife stays away. I'm alone in the cabin most days. Neighbors who apologized still keep distance. Nobody wants association with the guy who brought federal heat to the neighborhood. Property values haven't recovered. Some families are underwater on mortgages because of the crash. They blame me. Not Sharon. Me. David calls with updates that aren't really updates. Still waiting on the judge. Prosecutors building the case. These things take time. Time I don't have. I'm 3 months behind on property taxes. The county sends foreclosure warnings. Ironic, Sharon might win after all. Not through HOA fines. Just through grinding me into financial dust until I have nothing left. I sit on the dock at midnight. Can't sleep. Haven't really slept in weeks. Just sit here staring at dark water, remembering what it looked like when grandfather was alive. Clear, pure, full of life. Now it's a grave. I think about surrender. Selling. Walking away. Let some developer buy the land cheap and finish what Sharon started. At least I'd escape with something. Maybe 10 cents on the dollar. Enough to start over somewhere else. Somewhere without memories. The thought makes me sick. But I'm so tired. So broke. So completely destroyed. Then the mailman delivers a package. No return address. Plain brown paper. Inside, documents. Thick stack. Financial records. Meeting transcripts. Email printouts. Bank statements showing the county inspector received $50,000 from Sharon. emails discussing how to eliminate the pond problem, text messages coordinating my harassment, and a handwritten note on the bottom. She destroyed my family's land 5 years ago. Took everything. I was too scared to fight. Too broken. But you're not broken. You're still standing. Finish what I couldn't. Make her pay for all of us. I recognized the handwriting. Sharon's former business partner, guy named Robert Miller, lost his family's ranch in 2020 to her schemes. Wife left him. Kids won't speak to him. Last I heard, he was living in a trailer park working construction. He kept copies. Everything. Waited for someone brave enough to use them. The documents prove Sharon committed perjury in multiple court filings. Forged federal documents. Created fake environmental assessments. The evidence is devastating. I photograph every page. Send them to the FBI. They respond within an hour. Evidence received. Reviewing now. 6 a.m. the next day, FBI raids Sharon's office. Even though she's fled, they seize computers, file cabinets, everything. By noon, federal prosecutors file additional charges. Perjury, obstruction of justice, fraud. The walls close in, but Sharon's still out there. Free, living on stolen money. Then my phone rings. Unknown international number. I answer. Heavy breathing. Then Sharon's voice. Distorted. Using some kind of voice modulator. You think you won? I still have insurance. Files that will destroy Marcus. Expose him. He's not the hero you think. Burn this investigation down, or I release everything. You have 48 hours. Click. My hands shake. I call Marcus immediately. She threatened you. Said she has files. She's bluffing. Desperate. The FBI's closing in. What if she's not? Silence. Then, let her try. I've done nothing wrong. My record's clean. But doubt creeps in. What if Sharon really does have something? What if this whole fight collapses? I barely sleep. 48 hours feels like 48 years. Then, dawn of the third day, Marcus calls. They found her. Costa Rica. FBI traced the call. She's in custody. Costa Rican authorities move fast. FBI liaison coordinates with local police. They've located Sharon in a luxury villa outside San Jose. Beachfront property, private security, living like royalty on stolen millions. The raid happens at dawn. I watch it unfold via secure video feed Marcus sets up on his laptop. We're in my cabin. Coffee brewing. First light breaking over the mountains. On screen, tactical teams surrounding the villa. Costa Rican SWAT. FBI agents. 20 officers total. They breach at 6:02 a.m. Sharon's in the master bedroom. Silk pajamas. Face mask. Living her best life while her victims suffer. She fights. Actually fights. Screaming about diplomatic immunity she doesn't have. Threatening lawsuits. Demanding lawyers. Officers don't care. They cuff her. Read writes in Spanish and English. She's still screaming when they load her into the vehicle. This is persecution. Political. I'm being targeted. Nobody's listening. Extradition proceedings start immediately. Sharon's lawyers try blocking it. File emergency appeals. Claim human rights violations. Anything to delay. Doesn't work. Costa Rica has no interest in harboring American criminals. The extradition approves in 72 hours. She's put on a federal transport flight. Shackled. Orange jumpsuit. The woman who tried to steal my land in designer suits now looks like exactly what she is, a criminal. She arrives at Atlanta federal detention. No bail. Flight risk. The judge doesn't even hesitate. Ms. Pembroke, you fled the country with nearly $4 million in cash. You're not seeing daylight until trial. Gavel. Sharon's face drains white. Reality hitting. She's actually going to prison. Meanwhile, Marcus's pond restoration accelerates. Federal emergency funding approved, using Sharon's seized assets. Her villa in Costa Rica? Liquidated. Bank accounts? Frozen and redirected to victim restitution. Professional environmental teams work 12-hour days. The fill dirt comes out ton by ton. Water treatment systems installed. Native fish reintroduced. Plant life carefully cultivated. It's still slow. Still painful. But the pond's actually healing now. One morning I see it. A single otter. Young male. Testing the water near the rocks where the family used to den. I cry. Just stand there watching this otter dive and surface, and tears pour down my face. Life's coming back. The neighborhood changes too. Sharon's co-conspirators face charges. The county inspector pleads guilty. Gets 18 months and permanent ban from public service. 2 developers accept plea deals. The state legislators under federal investigation. Sharon's whole network collapses. Neighbors organize a community restoration day. 30 people show up. We plant native wildflowers. Clear invasive species. Repair the damaged creek bed downstream. One woman, her name's Jennifer, lives 3 houses down, approaches me while we're planting. I owe you an apology. I believed Sharon. Thought you were the problem. I'm sorry. You weren't the only one. No, but I should have questioned it. Should have looked deeper. Thank you for fighting when the rest of us were too scared. Others echo the sentiment. One by one. Apologies. Gratitude. Respect. The community heals alongside the pond. But the trial's still coming. Sharon's lawyers file endless motions. Delay tactics. They know she's guilty. Everyone knows. But they're getting paid either way. 6 months pass. Trial date finally set. Federal courthouse. Atlanta. Media circus. Cameras everywhere. Environmental groups rally outside. Sharon's victims, dozens of them, ready to testify. I'm called as primary witness. Standing outside the courthouse, staring at granite columns and American flags, I think about grandfather. About 40 years of his life nearly destroyed by one woman's greed. Marcus stands beside me. Ready? I nod. Let's finish this. We walk inside. The marble halls echo with our footsteps. Justice waiting. Finally, the courtroom's packed. Every seat filled. Overflow crowd in the hallway watching on monitors. This isn't just my case anymore. It's become a symbol. Ordinary person versus corrupt power. Environment versus greed. Sharon sits at the defense table. Designer suit. Hair perfect. Playing the victim even now. Her lawyers arranged it, trying to make her look sympathetic. Professional. Respectable. But everyone in this room knows what she is. The prosecution's case is overwhelming. 3 weeks of testimony. Financial experts showing the money trail. Environmental scientists documenting the destruction. The county inspector explaining how Sharon bribed him. 11 victims testifying about lost properties. Then it's my turn. I walk to the witness stand. Swear the oath. Look directly at Sharon. She won't meet my eyes. The prosecutor's a woman named Elizabeth Morrison. Sharp. Professional. No wasted words. Mr. Anderson, please tell the jury about your grandfather's pond. I do. Tell them about 40 years of careful stewardship. About the ecosystem he built. About teaching me to see beauty in nature. About inheriting that legacy. Then about Sharon destroying it in weeks. I show photographs. Before and after. Crystal water versus toxic sludge. Thriving wildlife versus dead fish. The jury leans forward. Some faces show disgust. Why did Ms. Pembroke target your property? My 3 acres blocked her $20 million resort development. The pond's water rights were the only legal barrier. She needed it gone. And when you refused? She used the HOA as a weapon. Forged permits. Blocked natural waterways. Dumped contaminated fill dirt. Bankrupted me with fines. Threatened foreclosure. She didn't just want my land. She wanted to break me. Sharon's lawyer objects. Speculation. Emotional testimony. Judge overrules. The witness is describing his experience. Continue. I tell them about the concrete barriers. The dead ecosystem. The financial devastation. Selling camera equipment. Losing sleep. The threats. The fire. She tried to destroy everything my grandfather built. And she almost succeeded. The prosecutor introduces Marcus. He testifies about the environmental crimes. Shows satellite imagery. Water contamination analysis. Explains how Sharon's blocked drainage threatened drinking water for 30,000 people downstream. This wasn't just property crime. It was environmental terrorism for profit. Sharon's defense tries fighting. Claims she was just enforcing HOA rules. That environmental violations were unintentional. That she's being persecuted for doing her job. Nobody buys it. The whistleblower testifies. Robert Miller. Sharon's former partner. He's gaunt. Broken. Voice shaking as he describes how Sharon destroyed his family's ranch 5 years ago. She told me to trust her. That she'd handle the permits. The legal work. Then she forged my signature. Took everything. My land. My savings. My family left me because of the debt she created. I've been living in a trailer working construction because I lost everything to her schemes. The jury watches Sharon. She's stone-faced. No remorse. No emotion. That's when the prosecutor plays the recording. The threatening call Sharon made from Costa Rica. Her voice distorted but identifiable. Threatening to destroy Marcus. To release false information. To burn everything down. You think you won? I still have insurance. Burn this investigation down, or I release everything. The courtroom goes silent. Sharon's face cracks. Just slightly. Panic in her eyes. Her lawyer tries objecting. Too late. The jury deliberates 6 hours. Returns at 4 p.m. On all counts, guilty. Sharon's face drains completely white. She grips the table. Sentencing hearing is brutal. Judge reads the allocution. Face hard. Voice cold. You betrayed public trust. Destroyed irreplaceable ecosystems for personal profit. Traumatized families. Endangered public health. And you showed no remorse. Only contempt. 22 years federal prison. 15 million in fines and restitution. All assets seized. Permanent ban from any HOA or community leadership position. Sharon stands. Shaking. This isn't over, she screams. You'll regret. Marshall cuts her off. Leads her away. Still screaming. Still threatening. Outside, victims celebrate. Hugging. Crying. Justice. Finally. I just feel empty. Relieved but hollow. Marcus puts a hand on my shoulder. It's over. Yeah. Now the real work begins. Healing the land. I look at him. Nod. That's all that matters now. Spring returns to the Blue Ridge. 6 months post-trial. The mountains explode with color, dogwoods blooming white, mountain laurel pink, wildflowers carpeting the forest floor. And the pond transforms. Marcus's restoration team worked through winter. Federal environmental funds, paid from Sharon's seized villa proceeds, covered everything. Professional hydrologists redesigned the water flow system, restored the natural overflow to the creek. Native species reintroduction. Pollution remediation. The water runs clear again. Not crystal yet. That'll take years, but clean. Mountain spring fed. I can see bottom for the first time in 8 months. Smooth stones. Aquatic plants waving in current. Tiny fish darting through shafts of sunlight. I'm standing on the rebuilt dock when I see them. Otters. The family's back. Mother and 3 juveniles. Sliding down the muddy bank into the water exactly where they did 10 years ago when grandfather and I watched together. I break down. Just completely lose it. Sitting on the dock, crying while otters play 20 feet away. Marcus finds me like that. Doesn't say anything. Just sits beside me. We watch the otters in silence. He'd be proud, Marcus finally says. Yeah, he would. The eagle nest rebuilds downstream. I hike there every week. Watch the mated pair bringing sticks. Constructing. The creek flows strong again, the natural overflow restored. Ecosystem balance returning. Neighbors help plant native species along the shore. The same wildflowers grandfather cultivated. Butterfly milkweed. Black-eyed Susans. Mountain mint. Community workdays become monthly tradition. 20 people show up. We work together. Healing the land. Healing ourselves. The HOA dissolves officially. Votes unanimous. New community association forms, focused on environmental stewardship instead of control and restrictions. They asked me to serve on the board. I accept. First act? Establishing conservation easements protecting natural waterways throughout the neighborhood. What happened to my pond can never happen again. I install a memorial bench where the dock meets shore. Hand-carved oak. Brass plaque. In memory of grandfather, who taught me that some things are worth fighting for. My photography work comes back. Better than before. The pond's restoration becomes a documentary project. National environmental magazines feature it. Audubon. Sierra Club. National Geographic reaches out. Speaking invitations arrive. Environmental conferences. Community organizing workshops. People want to know how one person fought corrupt power and won. I tell grandfather's story. Sharon's crimes. Marcus's help. The community's healing. But mostly I talk about not giving up. About standing your ground when everything says to surrender. The documentary airs on PBS. Fighting for the pond. One man's battle against corruption. It wins awards. Reaches millions. Letters pour in. Hundreds. From people facing similar fights. HOA abuse. Environmental destruction. Feeling powerless. I respond to everyone. Sometimes just encouragement. Sometimes connecting them with lawyers. Sometimes with Marcus and his EPA contacts. The pond at dawn becomes my sanctuary again. I'm there every morning. Camera ready. Photographing herons fishing. Otters playing. Eagles soaring. Mist rising off water that's alive again. This place that almost died is more beautiful than ever. One morning, Exactly 1 year after Sharon's sentencing, I'm sitting on the memorial bench with coffee when I hear footsteps. Young couple emerges from the forest trail. Mid-30s. Looking exhausted. Scared. The woman speaks first. Voice shaking. Are you the one who fought Sharon Pembroke? Yeah. We need help. Our HOA is threatening to demolish our family's heritage garden. It's been there 60 years. They want a parking lot. We don't know what to do. I look at them. See myself a year ago. Broken. Desperate. Ready to give up. I stand. Tell me everything. And don't worry. You're not alone anymore. Their faces flood with relief. Because that's what this fight created. Not just a restored pond. A movement. 2 years post Sharon. The pond is paradise restored. Better than grandfather's original vision. The ecosystem doesn't just survive, it thrives. Wildlife biologists visit quarterly. Document the recovery. Call it a model for successful wetland restoration. Universities send ecology students. The pond becomes living classroom. I've helped 23 families now. Fighting environmental HOA abuse. Corrupt boards. Illegal destruction. 3 resulted in criminal prosecutions. 17 in conservation easements protecting the land forever. Dozens in policy changes. The movement grows beyond anything I imagined. I established the Grandfather Conservation Fund, using settlement money from Sharon's seized assets, supporting other landowners facing similar battles. Legal Defense Fund, Expert Witness Network, environmental lawyers on retainer. We help people fight back, and we're winning. My photography book releases. Fighting for the Pond, One Man's Battle Against Corruption. Coffee table format. Stunning images of the pond's restoration paired with the story. Environmental message. Call to action. It hits bestseller lists. 3 weeks at #1. Documentary film deal follows. Netflix wants the rights. But the real victory is simpler. More profound. I wake to bird calls. 50 species now compared to 12 when Sharon's poison killed everything. Morning light golden on water. I walk to shore with coffee. Sit on grandfather's memorial bench. The Otter family, now 3 generations, plays in front of me. The original mother I watched return that first spring? She's a grandmother now. Her offspring raised families here. Lineage restored. The eagle nest has 2 chicks this year. I photograph them daily. Watch them grow. Learn to fly. The restoration brought them back. Native wildflowers bloom in waves. Spring through fall. Butterflies. Bees. Hummingbirds. The garden grandfather planted lives again. This place that almost died is more alive than ever. Marcus retired from EPA. Built a cabin 1/4 mile upstream. We fished together twice a week. Just like grandfather and I used to. Circle complete. Think he'd be proud? I ask one morning. Lines in the water. Sun warming our backs. You saved his legacy. Stopped a criminal. Protected an entire watershed. Started a movement. Marcus looks at me. Yeah, I think he'd be proud. My phone buzzes. Email from another desperate landowner. HOA threatening their family wetland. Familiar story. Same pattern of corruption and abuse. I reply immediately. Tell me everything. We'll help. You're not alone. Because that's what this fight created. Not just a restored pond. Not just justice for Sharon's victims. A network. A community. A resistance against those who destroy nature for profit. The documentary airs worldwide. Reaches 40 million viewers. Comments flood in. People sharing their own stories. Finding courage. Fighting back. I become an advocate. Testifying before state legislatures. Pushing for HOA reform. Environmental protections. Stricter oversight. 3 states pass new laws directly inspired by my case. The Grandfather Protection Act in North Carolina. Limiting HOA power over pre-existing natural features. Mandating environmental review before any wetland modification. Sharon remains in federal prison. 15 years left on her sentence. Appeals denied. She writes me occasionally. Rambling letters claiming victimhood. Demanding apologies. I don't respond. She's irrelevant now. What matters is the pond. The wildlife. The families we've helped. The legacy. Morning mist rises off perfect still water. Heron fishing in the shallows. Otters playing. Eagle calling overhead. I pull out my camera. Frame the shot. Light catching water. Life everywhere. Click. This image, this moment, represents everything worth fighting for. And I'll spend the rest of my life protecting it. For grandfather. For Marcus. For every family facing corrupt power. For the pond. Always for the pond. 3 years since Sharon's concrete barriers appeared. 3 years since I almost lost everything. The pond is Eden now, exactly as grandfather envisioned. More beautiful than memory. The ecosystem doesn't just survive, it flourishes beyond what anyone thought possible. I'm standing on the dock at dawn. Camera ready. The light breaks over mountains, painting everything gold. Mist rises like something sacred. The water mirrors sky perfectly. Wildlife biologists call this place a miracle. Complete ecosystem recovery. Endangered salamanders returned. Rare native plants thriving. Biodiversity exceeding pre-development levels. But it's not a miracle. It's what happens when people fight for what matters. My conservation fund has helped 47 families now, fighting environmental HOA abuse across 12 states. 7 criminal prosecutions. 31 permanent conservation easements. Policy changes in 5 states. The movement we started keeps growing. My photography book's in its 4th printing. Documentary film won 3 awards. I speak at environmental conferences monthly. State legislators consult me on HOA reform legislation. But the real victory is here. This pond. This morning. This piece. The Otter family plays in front of me. For generations now. The matriarch who returned that first spring is old now. Gray in her fur. But her legacy swims around her. Children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. The eagle nest has 3 chicks. Record for this site. I've documented their entire lives. From eggs to fledging. National Geographic published the series. Grandfather's wildflower gardens explode with color. Monarchs everywhere. Hummingbirds. Native bees. The restoration brought back species not seen here in 50 years. Marcus walks up the trail. Fishing rod over his shoulder. Ready? Always. We cast lines into water so clear you can see 20 feet down. Just like grandfather taught us. The circle complete. New email this morning. I say. Family in Oregon. HOA threatening their heritage orchard. You taking the case? Already connected them with lawyers. Flying out next week. Marcus smiles. You know you don't have to save everyone. I'm not saving everyone. I'm teaching them to save themselves. That's the real legacy. Not just the pond. Not just defeating Sharon. But showing ordinary people they have power. That corrupt systems can be challenged. That nature is worth fighting for. My phone buzzes. Another message. Young woman in Tennessee. Her HOA wants to pave her grandmother's memorial garden. I reply immediately. Resources. Contacts. Encouragement. You've got this. We're here. Fight back. The documentary reaches 100 million views. Comments still pouring in. People sharing victories. HOA reforms. Protected lands. Families who fought and won. Sharon's in year 3 of 22. Appeals exhausted. She's facing what she did. Finally. But I don't think about her anymore. She's just a cautionary tale now. Warning of what happens when greed meets nature. The pond reflects mountains. Perfect. Eternal. Protected forever by federal conservation status. No one can ever touch this land again. I think about grandfather. About 40 years of his life creating this sanctuary. About how Sharon almost destroyed it in weeks. About how we fought back and won. The heron strikes. Silver flash of base. Life continuing. Thriving. This is why we fight. For this. For mornings like this. For wildlife that needs protection. For water that sustains life. For beauty that feeds souls. My camera clicks. Capturing light on water. Otters mid-play. Eagles soaring. Evidence that good can triumph. That ordinary people can beat corrupt power. That nature, when given a chance, heals. I post the photo online. Caption simple. 3 years ago, they tried to bury this pond under concrete. Today, it's protected forever. Never give up on what matters. Your voice is more powerful than you know. Within minutes, comments flood in. This inspired me to fight my HOA. Just filed for conservation easement on my family's land. Your story gave me courage. Thank you. I respond to each one. Because that's how movements grow. One person, one story, one pond at a time. The sun fully rises now. The pond blazes with light. Every ripple catches gold. The otters surface, shake water from their fur, return to their den in the rocks. The same rocks grandfather and I used to sit on. Watching this exact scene. Decades ago. He's gone. But his legacy lives. In this water. This wildlife. This fight. And I'll protect it until my last breath. Then pass it to the next generation. And they'll pass it to the next. Forever. Because some things are worth fighting for. Some ground you don't surrender. Some beauty you protect with everything you have. This pond taught me that. Grandfather taught me that. Sharon's attack proved it. And now I teach others. The fight continues. But we're winning. One pond. One family. One victory at a time. I pack up my camera. Head to the cabin. Emails waiting. Families needing help. More battles to fight. But first, one more photo. The pond at perfect dawn light. Life everywhere. Hope visible. Click. This image will reach thousands. Inspire hundreds. Help dozens. That's the real triumph. Not just saving one pond, but starting a movement that saves thousands. If this story moved you, if it made you angry at injustice or hopeful for justice, drop a comment below. Tell me where you're watching from. Share if you've faced similar battles. Your story matters. Your voice matters. Together, we're stronger than any corrupt system. Let me know you're out there fighting too. Comment your location, and let's build this community of people who refuse to surrender what matters.